My career is a teacher. My career is a scientist. I want to improve. Teaching in the world. I want to improve. Teaching in the world. My career is a singer. My career is a singer. I want to improve. Singing in the world. Want to improve. Singing in the world. These were the songs that made our high school of Taisek Engineering by Daniel Chingoma. It pains me to learn the passing of Daniel Chingoma. And what really pains me the most is the fact that we have lost not just a genius in his own right when it comes to innovation. You might not like him, but one can agree with you that Daniel Chingoma was someone who is a well of knowledge that we could have explored in Zimbabwe. I know a lot of people are saying that the government could have done something, and I want to explain the reason why it is very difficult for governments in Africa to use their talent. As I'm learning, I'm learning about what Abiodun Alao said. The case of endowment. The countries that are well-resourced are always in perpetual conflict. What do I mean by that? You might think it was very, very, very easy for the government to support Daniel Chingoma and make sure that he gives us the wealth of knowledge that he had in order to, improve or invent some things that we can manufacture here. By the way, we have iron, we've got all the components that could make us invent cars, invent helicopters, invent all these inventions that you will think of. But it's not as easy as you think, because the system that has given us what we call democracy has got oligarchs that are on top, and they have created these empires that they don't want Africa to come close from discovering their potential. And this goes on to even inventors that are in America that have died. There are more than 100 inventors who could have changed even the likes of Tesla and a whole lot of inventors that died because they were going against what the oligarchs or the who and who's who run the world were pushing for. So the case of Daniel Chingoma might infuriate you, but it is not as simple as you think. Right now, we know of Sanglani Chikumbutso, who invented a car that runs on nothing. We invented all these inventions that he made, the helicopter and everything. But it is very sad to note that Sanglani Chikumbutso, he is said to be in a coma right now. And I'm told that our president has hid him somewhere so that he cannot be touched by these institutions that have created the global capitalism that we are living in. If you understand what I mean, that there are people who have got inventions that we are living on. I don't want to mention names, but in the automobile industry, who is there? In the engineering industry, whether it is helicopters, which is planes, and even the cell phone industry, who is there? And one good example that you can pick up is the story of Huawei, that Huawei was banned to operate in America or to be associated with Google. Why? Not because they against there were stories about spying on American people, but the real story is that Huawei is challenging the world superpowers. So these are some of the things that you find that if there is an invention or there are inventions that are coming from Africa, they have to be stopped at all costs, because what they do is they make the global north systems to not function in order to give strength to capitalism. Because imagine if an invention then comes from Africa, what happens to those inventions that they have in the global north? It means that they'll be useless. They have no market to sell their inventions. So they have to keep African inventions under subjection, or to try to prove them wrong, to say they are not, they defy physics and everything. But it doesn't mean that they are necessarily wrong. And also the other thing that you must understand is that even the greatest inventions that we have seen, or in terms of the automobile industry, the Toyota, which is one of the leading car manufacturers in the world from Japan, Toyota was sponsored by the government for many years, for more than 30 years. The government, it doesn't mean that Toyota was the best. Toyota was making so many mistakes, they made so many failures, but the government kept on investing and making losses. But in the end, the investment on Toyota paid off. Right now, you cannot talk of any reliable car and you don't talk of Toyota. So the issue is, it comes back again to the leadership, not just of Zimbabwe, but leadership of Africa. If our leaders are not going to stand their ground against the evil forces of global north that are there to exploit the market of Africa and use it not only to suck their resources dry, but also exploiting the resources that are in Africa and coming back to sell back to Africa, because these are the consumers. So they are taking our raw materials cheap, process them, and they come back and sell them to us because we are their market, even though they are taking it from us. So this is the scenario. These are the metrics. So I just wanted to say that it will be very easy for us to blame the government of Zimbabwe, but it is also very imperative for us to look at the bigger picture of the war that is there between the global north and the global south when it comes to politics and when it comes to them protecting their turf. Anyone that wants to challenge the global north's supremacy, they are met with resistance, and this is the result of Daniel Chingoma. So Daniel Chingoma is not just a victim of negligence on the Zimbabwean government part, or us dismissing his inventions, but it is more to do with the matrix of the system that is there and that is gatekeeping inventions and making sure. That's why you find some of the inventors, they are taken to America and they go and make money there. Then they come back and they sell them. They'll sell us those inventions that are done by Africans, and we pay the huge price of just being called the global south. So it's more deeper than that. That's how I view it. But sad day for Daniel Chingoma to have lost such a genius, and this is a sad story for many geniuses that are around the world, that are around Africa. Some of them, they end up selling their intellectual prowess to the global north in order to survive. But the story of Daniel Chingoma, Sangulani Chikumbutso, and a whole lot of others is not different to the story of Africa still be crying from the tentacles of colonialism and neocolonialism that is at play, because the systems that are running institutions in Africa are still being controlled by the imperialists. What do you make of the death of Daniel Chingoma? What is your thoughts? I'm very, very devastated by this, but this is the reality of where we are living in. And unless our political leaders are going to change their stance and face head-on the global north, and negotiate or not negotiate, or push for equality and equal opportunity, whereby we are not going to be continuously be consumers, but we are also part of saying we negotiate with you, global north, based on what we have, and if you don't give us this, we are not going to give you this. It's a win-win situation for everyone. But at the moment, it's all win to the global north, whilst the global south continues to be the customer and the bearer of the resources that they cannot use. And those resources, they are being sold to them at a song. They are being sold to them at a huge and a hefty price. Look at our look at the interest rates that Africa gets from IMF compared to the interest rates that Global North gets. This is a testament to what Africa suffers from, more than what we see on the ground. It's easy to blame these leaders, but when you look at the bigger picture, you see that there is a bigger monster than what meets the eye.